This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
I've been all in my bag, you been all in my business. You be all in your feelings. I've been all in them trenches. I've been all in my bag.
Hey guys, I'm Sai and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of our wrestling series, Keeping It Real. And this is series number 2, let's say, with episode number 1. And you can watch the show on youtube.com/Ace Podcast Nation. And of course, the audio versions of this and all the shows produced by Ace Podcast Nation are now part of the Sports Social Podcast Network, the UK's first all-sports podcast network. You can find this and all our other shows there. So check them out at www.sport-social.co.uk. And they've got all sorts of stuff and shows. But in this edition, and indeed this series, it is not like your usual wrestling series. We cram in as much random wrestling news and stories into about 45 minutes to an hour, nothing too long. And we get as much as we can in a fun and relaxed way. And I am delighted because it has been too long since, number one, I've heard our intro tune. It's been so long, but even longer since I've spoken to this man in person. I am delighted to welcome, as ever, PostWrestling.com's writer and interviewer, and of course, the GOAT. He is Mr. Andrew Thompson. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, as well as welcome him today. How are you, my friend?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me on. Good to be back.
Great.
Chilling, man. Everything is going well. I can't complain.
So much has happened, mate. Like, because I was doing the live football shows during the tournament in the summer, or at the start of the summer, it was just impossible. Our schedules just wouldn't match up. No matter how much we tried, it just wasn't happening. Obviously, for people who don't know, you're in America, I'm in the UK, so we have to match them up, as best we can anyway. But when I was doing all those live shows, and you've got, you're doing your thing, and things are opening back up, so you're traveling for interviews and things like that, we just couldn't get our times together. But we are finally back. I'm delighted to say, mate. And in the time since we last talked, a lot has happened. But you know where I want to start, mate. They fucking fired Bray Wyatt. Pricks.
Yeah, they
Absolute
did.
pricks. Yeah, mate. I'm speechless, mate. I got to say, of all the people to fire, he wouldn't be the guy I would fire, because he's shown that you can... he's shown that he can come up with new characters, and if, at least at the start, when they book him right, he'll get over. So to me, and he sells a lot of merch, to me, that makes no sense to release him. But they did. He's gone. I think he's probably going to turn up in AEW, and I think that'll be a good signing for them, because I think it's something different to what they've got in terms of he's not necessarily the best in-ring worker, but from a character point of view, and a promo point of view and creative point of view, he's a very clever guy. Were you surprised they released him?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you just cut out then. So were you surprised that they released Bray Wyatt?
Uh-oh.
I can't hear you, man.
Uh-oh.
I can hear
Wait,
you.
can you hear me? Because
I can hear you.
It sounds
yeah.
like you cutting it. Okay.
No,
wait,
I can hear you.
You can hear. Wait, say it again.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I hate StreamYard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised when they cut Bray Wyatt. Definitely, shock surprise. I thought he would end up being a WWE lifer, considering the amount of effort that both parties put into presenting this most recent incarnation of Bray Wyatt. as far as the character goes and how he's presented, I don't think there's anybody else to blame other than WWE for how they presented Bray Wyatt. I felt like they had multiple chances to get it right with him. I saw there were quite a few people on social media that were on the other side of the conversation, as far as like they didn't understand why people were quote unquote hyping up Bray Wyatt and then get this. Like, I mean, everybody likes their different type of wrestling. I enjoy my work rate stuff, and I also enjoy the entertainment aspect of it. I do like to have a little bit of variety in my shows, at least. And WWE, they like most of their shows are like the drizzling shits. I ain't even gonna lie to you, like, there are like certain points where things are like kind of good. And I remember when the Fiend first had his first entrance at the SummerSlam 2019 show, and I was just thinking to myself, I was like, this is fucking great, and I'm gonna give it like 2 months before they fuck it up, and voila, they did exactly that. So like, I mean, I don't think it's anybody else's fault other than WWE's, because I mean, they had a great entertainer in Bray Wyatt. I mean, like you said, nobody's out here saying Bray Wyatt was like the fucking work rate king. Yeah, but it was out here, putting on classics, because he definitely wasn't. And I would be the first one to say I was not tuned in to watch Bray Wyatt wrestle, but I did enjoy the character elements that he brought to television. And as far as what's next for him, I feel like he don't like. I mean, I'm pretty sure he wants to wrestle, but he can really like go into like acting and shit like that. And like he can even go to like help out the guy Jason Baker with the costume designing. Like, it's a lot of money in that. Like he helped Jason Baker get a job with WWE, so that was cool. And it's gonna be interesting to see what Bray does next. Like, I know a lot of people automatically point to AEW. Like, if he was to go to AEW, I feel like that would be something different, but it would be interesting to see how they would present Wyndham Rotunda and not Bray Wyatt. But at the same time, like, I think AEW has a really, 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 really solid track record as far as like taking talents who weren't utilized properly and presenting them in a good way on TV. Like, we literally just mentioned it off air. Like, look at Malachi Black. The dude has felt like more of a threat. His character has felt like more of a threat than he has in the past 3 years. Like, and they've done that in like what, a month and a half. Like, he literally just squashed Cody Rhodes on TV, and he's like, it's a made man. You a made man off that, bro.
Yeah,
you a made man off that.
Similar with Brody Lee as well, didn't they? Where, but like,
they did the same thing.
Factor.
The same thing with Brody Lee, bro. Like, I'm telling you, that stuff helps a lot. Like, it goes a long way.
Convincingly,
it goes a long way. And I'm like, I know. See, the thing is, like, and even people that's in the Dark Order, they've done interviews like when they say they cannot stand when people try to force people into that spot that Brody Lee was. And I 100% get that. Like, I'm pretty sure that shit is annoying. Like, people keep saying, oh yeah, this person should be the leader of the Dark Order, this person should do this. But if there was anybody that you are going to put in that position, I would probably bank on it being the dude who was his real life best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's anybody that you're gonna put in that position, then why not the dude who was legitimately
who's played a cult character successfully before? I
with
think
the guy that was leading that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And I think just quickly on the Dark Order thing, before I make another point about that, is with the Dark Order thing, I completely understand what the Dark Order guys were saying. I understand the point of view of a lot of people who say just leave it, don't try and replace Brody Lee as like
real quick, not to cut you off, but I was like, just to add on to your point, I was like, they don't want anybody joining the shit no more. Like, they don't want anybody, like members, leader. They don't want nobody. No. Like, the only consistent thing that I've heard from all members is that they want Brody Jr. take over the Dark Order one day. But that's like 10, 11 years from now, dog. Like, I get the sentiment. You know what I'm saying? But like, we don't know if Dark Order is going to be around 10 years. Like, that you never, like, if AEW is going to be around 10 years from now, you never know what the fuck happens 10 years from now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
If you're going, I'm like, I get the sentiment though. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be like one of the greatest payoffs to a storyline.
Yes,
if his son took over, that shit would be great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would. It would be incredible. And like, I was kind of against it, and then I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, oh well. Maybe like Bray Wyatt's cult character was what got him over the first time. And I'm going to talk a little bit about his different iterations of Bray Wyatt in a sec. But like, in terms of the Dark Order, Like, I do think that there's room for him, or there's a potential good storyline and rejuvenation for them as heels with Bray Wyatt taking over and it becoming like that cult and the Join the Dark Order stuff and the vignettes and things like that. I do think there's potential there. And I saw someone on Facebook suggest that they should, because they keep dragging out this Adam Page, Kenny Omega thing, and every time it looks like they're going to pull the trigger, they kind of, something happens or someone joins or whatever it may be, and they push it back a bit. And this guy said, basically what you do is when you make it look like, right, they're finally going to pull the trigger with Adam Page's coronation and just as you think this is finally they're going to do the match, you have the Dark Order turn on him and kind of Bray Wyatt's debut or reveal, and then you turn them into like these mega heels led by Bray Wyatt or Wyndham Rotunda, because everybody is itching and waiting for Adam Page to take the title off Kenny Omega. Everybody is waiting. And when he finally does win the title, that pop is going to be insane. But if you want to make the Dark Order heels, I think that's the way you do it, is to cost him his opportunity. I wouldn't say cost him his title, like in the title match, but like, I don't know, if he's got to beat the Elite in like a gauntlet match or something, and just as he's about to beat the last person, you have them cost him or something. Sorry, no, something. But, and you turn them into mega heels. But ultimately, just quickly, mate, before I get your take on that, Bray Wyatt in the WWE came in as the cult leader. In NXT before that, he was like almost like, I forgot, I don't know what the word is, like a reverendy type, preachery type guy, and then they kind of twisted that a little bit and turned him into a full-blown cult leader when he came into the Raw and the main roster. Then he was the Eater of Worlds and Down with the Machine. Then he was on his own for a bit, and every time they rebranded or they just changed his character, he got over with the fans. When he was up against John Cena going into Mania, he was so over. You had all the crowd singing, he's got the whole world in his hands, and all these different things. Same with the cult. Same with he did, and I always point people to this, because I know some people who are not a fan of him will say his promos back when he was doing those gimmicks sometimes were a bit the same and a bit too long. And I do understand that. But you go back and watch the build up to his match with The Undertaker. Bray Wyatt built that match on his own. The Undertaker didn't turn up for one episode of Raw or SmackDown in the whole build up. Bray Wyatt built it himself with vignettes and promos, all of which were top class. And then the very last Raw before Mania, he did a promo in ring, staring into the camera, and I tell you what, mate, I still say it was one of the best promos of the modern era. And then the Undertaker turned up and beat him in 10 minutes at WrestleMania, and everyone, that iteration of the character was dead again. They did it to him every time he got over. The WWE would have him lose the big feud or the big match. Same with Cena, same with The Fiend and Goldberg. It's just frustrating. But I am excited to see what Wyndham Rotunda can do when given creative freedom to go and really explore his creativity and what he's good. Because as much as The Fiend and everything has been good, how many times do you think WWE has told him he can't do something, or that's too much, or whatever it may be? So I am interested to see where he goes, how he goes, what he does. I'm sure he's got plenty of characters.
Oh shit, we got some breaking news, Si.
Come on, tell me.
Breaking news, my brother. It looks like that man CM Punk making the media rounds. I see a couple outlets got interviews with him. WrestleZone, TV Insider.
He's doing that heels program, isn't he?
You know they asking him. He's
in. So
yeah. It's good he's getting that out the way.
Just before
getting out the way now, though.
Oh yeah. Just before we move on from Bray Wyatt, what do you think the WWE are doing at the moment? Because there doesn't seem to be any rhyme, no reason to what they're doing. They've just released a load of NXT stars. Some big names in there as well. Some names who, you know, were recently champions or be going up to the main roster. And like, I've seen some people saying, oh, it's an age thing or it's a size thing. But like, that doesn't seem to be the case, because Bronson Reed seems to be everything they would like about a superstar. He was recently a champion. Sounded as if he was going to Raw or SmackDown, released. And there was a few others, which just, it doesn't make sense. I've seen, do you think they're getting ready to sell, mate? Because they do seem to be trying to cut some finances around the place.
No, I don't think they're getting ready to sell. I think WWE is just downsizing a lot of the company, and I think once, like I don't know if Nick Khan is like, you know, like I think that's just the assumption from everybody that Nick Khan's just taking a look at the books and he's like, why are all these people making all this money, like, and we're not even using half of them, like, you might as well just let them go. And like that's the issue WWE's had for like a couple years now, like the talent hoarding thing. And like we've heard the reports about like we've heard the reports about, you know, the reported changes coming to NXT, and that will be I guess we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. But if that is the case, there was like a conversation going on about like if NXT failed in the sense of its true job and what it was supposed to do, which is produce homegrown talents. And when you break it down like that, and like you really look at it, it kind of did, but it kind of didn't. Because I mean, like at the same time, like I think Triple H turned NXT into a alternative to the WWE product, and it definitely is super indie. He turned it to an alternative to the.
But that worked. That made it popular.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was getting to. Like that shit made it popular. That's what people wanted to see, because it was so different from the shit that you saw on Raw, SmackDown, which 9 times out of 10 was ass. You know what I'm saying? So it was just way different than the takeovers delivered. But I mean, like when you really break it down and like I guess you look at the point of Triple H's job, which is to develop homegrown WWE talents. I mean, you got Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Bayley, who else you got? Wyatt. Bray Wyatt. You got Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins. Who else you got? Roman Reigns, Big E. Yeah. You can't say Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins.
No, Seth Rollins and John Moxley were already.
They were already out there.
After that,
most of them were women, dog.
Yeah,
like Bianca Belair.
Yeah,
you know, like who else like this on the current, like this, like homegrown.
I'm trying to think now.
Omos.
Omos. What's the other big guy? Who's with Apollo?
Oh, Commander Aziz.
Yeah. But there's not a great deal of those like homegrown guys, but that's simply because most wrestlers have to work somewhere before they can get that opportunity.
Real quick, like I think Triple H sort of turning it into that super indie really sort of allow for those homegrown talents to sort of develop without the pressure of like, hey, we need to throw your ass on TV real quick. Like I think that sort of did help. Like it kind of alleviates the pressure, because now if they really are turning NXT into what they say it is, then it's going to be an issue of like they're going to start calling folks up and getting them out there way before they're ready. And I think that's what when you have, you know, the people that you had there, you know, the collection of talents from some of the best from the independent scene, it kind of just it alleviated that pressure of having to push out so many homegrown talents. So I think this is a decision that's going to end up coming by WWE and they ass. I don't think they realize it yet.
Yeah, I agree completely. But what you had as well is you had those guys who didn't have TV experience, didn't have a lot of wrestling experience. Is day in, day out. They got to work with people like Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens for a bit. All these guys who were in and around NXT for a few years when it was this super indie, which supposedly Vince didn't like. They all got to work. The inexperienced guys got to work with guys like that week in, week out, day in, day out at the Performance Center. And because those guys were there, they were obviously in the big stories, the big angles and all this with the stuff which was bringing the fans in. But those guys got to learn from the best. Whereas if you make it this big, like turn it back into a development, if you like, and looking for these big guys. So like Parker Boudreaux, is that his name? The one who looks a bit like Brock Lesnar. He's massive. I believe he's like an ex-footballer. I might be wrong. Like he's gonna when they put him on, when they put him on NXT TV. If there's no Finn Balor, there's no Samoa Joe, there's no all these guys, experienced TV guys who can protect him and look after him and help him through those difficult moments, particularly early in his career. He could fall flat on his face before he gets anywhere near the main roster if they haven't got those big names and experience, those super indie names, if you like, in NXT. Like, I feel like that could be really problematic. And if I was USA and WWE started just like chucking out NXT each week with like Parker Boudreaux and all these names who nobody knows, I'd be a bit pissed off because they're paying money for NXT as NXT was NXT. They're paying for the super indie, which people was like a cult following, and more that's getting lost. I want to quickly ask you about Adam Cole. So Sean Ross Sapp reported Friday evening that just before SmackDown that Adam Cole was meeting with Vince McMahon during SmackDown to discuss extending his contract, or they were giving him the pitch to stay. And they apparently, since it's been reported by a few different people that he's been offered big money to stay. They obviously seem to want him to stay. However, while he's having that meeting, they fired one of his best friends and fellow undisputed member alumni. That is a weird way to negotiate with someone, for me, I got to say. If they really want Adam Cole to stay, that was a weird thing to do, I got to say.
Yeah, I still think Adam Cole is I think he out after
I do too.
Like if I was him, I'd leave too. Like, what the hell would you stay there for? Yeah. And like I think they would. Like, I mean, I don't know the amount of money that they're planning on offering Adam Cole. Like, I would have to. I feel like with cash stuff, I feel like I would have to hear that from Adam Cole himself. But I know he's never going to say that shit. But yeah, man, Adam Cole, I think he's in a really great position right now. Like, he has all the leverage. Like, he can't make a wrong decision. Like, he could stay with WWE, I'm pretty sure, make bank, or he go to AEW and probably had a run of his career, the next good run of his career. But like, this is the thing, Adam Cole has had a great run in NXT. Like, you can't say he's done everything, bro. Like, he literally had a fantastic run in NXT, and like, I don't think there's anything for him on Raw or SmackDown. I feel like they would say anything to keep him from going elsewhere. Like, they would tell him, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Make sure you do this. The only thing which I think would have kept him. Look what the fuck they doing with Finn Balor right now.
Yeah,
like Balor just came off the run. Balor just came off the best run that he's had in WWE, and they already like fucking it up.
Yeah, I thought it looked at one point. I thought like they might do a John Cena match, and I thought, well, that's got potential because John Cena's not going to be there for long, so you could give Finn like the big win, really build him up. But it doesn't even look like they're doing that. And like, to me, I feel like one of the things that maybe would have. I don't pretend to speak for Adam Cole by any means, but if I was him, the one thing which might pique my interest in terms of staying is if they was to say something like, we want you to go to Raw or SmackDown with Undisputed Era. We want you to get back together, and we want you to be like the dominant stable on the brand. Like, I feel like that might have sort of interested him and got his attention and maybe tempted him into staying. If it was, and I'm thinking, if it was me, that would be an option. The only other thing I could think of is if they would wanted to do, I think I mentioned to you a while back, some sort of like, I think the ship sailed now, but when the AEW started doing the Bullet Club stuff, WWE could have jumped on real quick and put like Adam Cole and AJ Styles and Finn Balor together and in a little stable and kind of done the same thing for the hype and the buzz it would have caused. I agree with you. I don't see what else Adam Cole can do in WWE, because I just don't see Vince putting him over Bobby Lashley or Roman Reigns for the WWE title. Never. So, like, would he be happy to just have a run and as a IC title holder, maybe, or a US title holder, maybe, or end up in like a thrown together tag team? I don't know. On the other side of the fence, Andrew, I would say the one thing is Adam Cole has been very open over the years in saying that it is his dream to be a WWE superstar and to be kind of like Shawn Michaels, I think, is one of the names he's mentioned. So maybe his aim personally is to be just on Raw every week or SmackDown every week. I don't know. If his aim was just to be a WWE superstar, he's appeared on SmackDown. He fought Daniel Bryan in the Invasion angle. I think they were on Raw as well. So he's kind of achieved those goals. It depends what his goals are now, but what a storyline they could do in AEW with Adam Cole. My God. Like, can you imagine, like, Adam Page is getting beaten down at the end of All Out or something, and like by the Elite, and Adam Cole was to come down with a steel chair. You can imagine the Adam Cole baby chant.
For real, bro. I was thinking like Adam Cole could come in, and that could be your way to turn Kenny Omega face.
Do you think? Well, and have Adam Cole align with the Bucks?
Yeah.
Versus Omega and the Good Brothers, is it?
Or just this Omega
take
solo.
over the whole thing.
Take over the whole jump.
I would love that, mate, because you know what that would do?
Bro,
that would make Adam Cole a big deal.
I think it's money in babyface Omega. It's always money in babyface Omega, bro. Like,
and I think, go on. I was about to say he's the one guy who could take over the Elite.
Yeah, and he fit. But Adam Cole is like natural cocky heel. Like, but if I'm Adam Cole, I'm looking at it like this, right? 5 things. Look at how WWE has booked small guys, right?
Yes.
AEW's hat, WWE is not, right? They literally firing people during the middle of shows, right? They should let you know all you need to know. I can't even remember the other 2 things, but it don't even matter at this point. Like, if I'm Adam Cole, like, I'm gonna go have this match with Kyle O'Reilly. I'm gonna go kill it, and then I'm gone. I'm out. It's no. I mean, I can see it. Like, at the end of the day, Adam Cole's gonna make the best decision for him. Like, if he feels he wants to stick around in WWE and he feel like he can change the place, then go chase that dream, my brother. But WWE does not have a solid track record of booking guys very well, especially coming up from NXT. You are not a homegrown talent. You already had a name before you came to WWE. You are not the tallest individual, which they, whether we realize it or not, they very much pay attention to that, and that's a big deal to them. And I think the last person to really overcome that was probably AJ Styles, and they just had no choice because AJ was that damn good. And then prior to him, it was Daniel Bryan, and they didn't even want Daniel Bryan to get what he get. And then now they try to take credit for the yes movement, like that was some orchestrated thing. Like, but yeah, man, like Adam Cole, like if he goes to Raw or SmackDown, like he probably gonna have like a 50-50 shot of becoming a star. And I'm begging. Bro, look at what the fuck they doing with Keith Lee. Like,
oh my God,
Keith Lee got everything they can want. He got the size, athletic as hell. He could talk on the mic, charisma. He's marketable. You can send him on the little NBC Good Morning talk shows and all that bullshit right there. He can do all that. He can literally do all that. And they just don't, like, they don't see it. And like Adam Cole, he can do the same thing. He just don't have the size, but he got charisma, somewhat athletic, and he can go in the ring. He can talk people into the building. I'm assuming. I think he can, but like I really don't know if staying with WWE is the smart decision. I feel like AEW is like the perfect choice. Plus, the significant other is there. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure
everything makes sense.
I'm pretty sure he would be treated like a big deal as soon as he walked through the door. Like, I think it's just unlimited options for him in AEW, unlimited storylines, and at the end of the day, bro, he gonna make his decision, and ain't shit we could do about it. But I think that AEW is the best option for Adam Cole.
Yeah, I do kind of agree, mate. I gotta say, I there's so many more positives to him going to AEW than there is vice versa. And like you say, I think him taking over from like basically stealing the Elite or the Bullet Club up from underneath Kenny Omega is the perfect way, because he does that. He is straight away the top heel in the company, and he's got incredible chemistry with the Young Bucks as well. Adam Cole has, and I just think you've got so much old footage from BTE and all this different stuff that can really progress that and tell a long-term story, and you can flesh it out. It's I agree with you on that. That'd be a phenomenal way to bring him in. So there's and of course you could also go the other way and have him be the guy who kind of supports Adam Page, because Adam Cole is quite a good babyface as well with his chant and everything. There's so many different ways to go. He's a very, very talented guy, by the way. He's money on the mic. Another guy who looks like possibly could be on his way is Pete Dunne, is out of contract, mate, apparently. Do you think WWE will try and keep him, or do you think they're going to let him go? Do you think he, to me, seems like a WWE guy? Him and the other guys from British Strong Style, they do seem very, particularly when you see some of the UK interviews they've done around the Performance Center and stuff, like they seem to be the guys, like when Alex McCarthy, friend of the channel, went and did the tour of the British PC, it was those three guys which showed him around and stuff. Like they seem to be the guys, and I know Pete Dunne's in America now, but what do you think about Pete Dunne very quickly? Like what do you see on the horizon for him?
I think Pete could go either way, to be honest with you. Like I do see him as more a WWE guy, and I think WWE will try to make a play to keep him, considering, you know, the history of the UK title that they try to establish. You know, seeing as how he had one of the longest reigns and sort of like a focal point. Like I'm assuming they want to have him do some comeback appearances at some point at NXT UK. Bro, I'm not even trying to be funny right now. Like I'm always shocked, like when these releases happen and like there's nothing from NXT UK. Like, and of course I don't want nobody to lose their job, but I'm like how, like, because
I know what you mean, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, like Pete Dunne,
you're releasing Bray Wyatt, but Jackson Riker's still got a job. You're releasing Bray Wyatt.
Hey, bro, you know what? I could go
all these
on.
other dudes. I could list off a load of guys who've caused them problems and embarrassment with their bad behavior. And they release Bray Wyatt,
bro.
Animals.
I could go on 30 hours. No, not 30 hours. Probably like 30 minutes about Jackson Riker.
Piece of shit.
I go on 30 hours, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and they released Bray Wyatt. Mate.
No, but as far as Pete Dunne goes, yeah. I mean, I feel like he could be an asset to AEW. I feel like he'd be something different. You know, he's I don't think you have that I don't think Kip Sabian is going to be that British standout star if that's what you're looking for. And I don't think Pete Dunne. I think Pete Dunne just could be like that. You know, that good talent that you have on hand, and you can slide him in a bunch of different positions. You know, I think it'd be cool to have him on the roster, and I think he would get booked well, of course. But I mean, you know, I don't think he could. I don't think he would make a bad choice by staying with WWE either. Because I mean, obviously they value him and they see something in him, but at the end of the day, he just got to make the best decision
for him and his family and what he thinks is the best
for Peter Dunne.
Yeah, I'm a big Peter Dunne fan. I think he's
Peter Dunne.
He's Peter Dunne is an exceptional wrestler, and he seems to be fairly good moralistically as well. But you know, it's what it is. We can't do a show, mate, without talking about it. You mentioned him earlier. It does look increasingly like CM Punk will be AEW bound. They hastily, should I say, or they maybe not hastily, they very quickly booked a Chicago show live for Rampage. When is that one? Do you know the date off the top of your head? 20th of August. So that's next week. Is CM Punk going to turn up at that show? Do you think?
He better be.
People are going to be disappointed if he doesn't.
Unless they want people walk out the.
Do you think that's why it sold out so quickly?
Yeah, of course, but it's the anticipation. Like people want to, but I think it's 100% locked in. But they're basically telling you that he's gonna be on the show without actually saying it. Why would they say it? They're literally giving away all these hints about CM Punk popping up on the show. CM Punk turned off the comments on his Twitter, and I'm assuming that was because he got tired of people asking about it. I think Punk is 100% locked in. He's gonna show up at the end of that Rampage show, and I'm gonna be I'm probably gonna be sick because I'm probably gonna miss that because that show is the day before my birthday, and I'm probably gonna be out, so I'm probably gonna miss it. So I'm probably going to keep up on Twitter. Hopefully they get the clip up real quick so I can.
They normally, when there's a big debut,
they get it up real quick.
They get it out real quick, don't they?
So hopefully I can see that. But man, I think Punk that you guys see people try to downplay what CM Punk what he can if he shows up in AEW, I think that'll be a massive deal, especially considering the fact that look, they can do the whole thing of him showing up at that Rampage show, and then you know what, you don't even have to put him on TV for the next few weeks. You can wait and promote his first promo for that Dynamite in Chicago, not even All Out. You can just promote it for the Dynamite in Chicago. That's maybe 2 weeks after. And that's just a way to build anticipation. And then you never know the number they might do, and that'll let you know that all you need to know about how much of a draw CM Punk still is. And then even with this October 20th show, it's gonna be interesting to see the rating come out of that because people automatically expecting CM Punk to show up on this show. And then on top of that, you got the cloud that's hanging over everybody's head, which is Bryan Danielson. And then people don't know what he's gonna do. The reports was out there that he's probably going to show up at that Arthur Ashe show, which a lot of people are excited about. I've never seen a wrestling show in a damn tennis stadium. I'm interested to see how they production standpoint, because I'm real into the production stuff and the camera work and all that stuff. So I'm interested to see how they even shoot that, and how they even where the fuck is the tunnel going to be, and all what I'm saying. I'm just real interested to see how they set that up. But if they really do have Punk and Danielson locked in, that is massive, bro, and that's a hit to WWE. I don't care what nobody say, but that's gonna hurt. Punk literally carried WWE for almost 3 years.
Yeah,
Danielson was a top star there. That Danielson was a top star there since 2014, 2013. You can't replace two people like that. And then on top of that, if they are to lose Adam Cole, that'll be another hurt. Or another loss to the NXT brand, big loss, not necessarily to WWE as a whole, but more so to NXT. So
you're 100% right, mate. But I saw again, it was on. I think it was on. Might have been Facebook or Twitter. I can't remember. But this guy is a fairly well-known podcaster, and he said that if WWE basically they haven't gone in for CM Punk because he's past it. They don't want Daniel Bryan. That's why they didn't offer him an extension. And he said they got rid of Bray Wyatt and same with Adam Cole because they don't want him. And if AEW sign them, they're pathetic. They're just WWE liked. And I said, you've got two once in a lifetime talents in Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. Both incredible on the mic, both incredible in the ring. I'd say Daniel Bryan is by far one of the best ring workers in history, let alone the modern era. CM Punk, I don't count personally as one of the great ring workers, but he's very good in the ring, or he was very good. But his promo work is as good as anyone.
Real quick, Punk is really good in the ring. I think a lot of people forget what he was doing prior to WWE, just because most of his popularity, as far as the mainstream and getting so many eyes on him, came when he was in WWE. And if you go back and look at the stuff he was doing in Ring of Honor or IWA Mid-South, or Punk was the man, bro. He was really good. I mean, I don't know how well that stuff holds up today, seeing as how the in-ring standards have increased greatly. But Punk
his
Punk did he had some real good stuff like back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, bro. Like Punk is a good wrestler. I don't know if he can still go today. I did see Sean's Fightful Select report about people on the Hills cast saying that he still look good. So
there you go. I
we'll
mean,
see.
People forget CM Punk is one of the best promos ever. Like, people forget it wasn't just like that one pipe bomb, which was good. He did promo, and he was, like you said, he carried WWE programming for 3 years. So just like I said to you before, I only watch Raw for Bray Wyatt, and I'm like to see if they're doing anything with him, and then a couple of other talents like the Hurt Business and maybe Alexa, or just a few. I'm not really wanting to watch the whole show. I'm looking out for a few talents. Back in those days, CM Punk was the one that everybody was looking out for. His promo work was incredible. So to me, him and Daniel Bryan are once in a lifetime talents. And when once in a lifetime talents become available, you make sure that you offer them, or you do all you can to sign them to your company, whatever business you're in, whether it's a once in a lifetime soccer player, cricketer, footballer, whatever it may be. If someone in your field of business is available who can change the game, and you can get them on board without bankrupting your company, then you do everything you can to do so. So to get two of them, not just one of them, to get two of them would be simply incredible. Then you chuck in Bray Wyatt, who, in my opinion, only my opinion, but a lot of people agree, one of the most creative minds of the modern era, and a guy who has proven time and time again he can get over, and he can create new characters, and he can create interesting content that gets people talking. Why wouldn't you want a guy like that who can do stuff like that? He could put out a 5-minute YouTube video filled with Easter eggs and all sorts of things in the background, which people will watch for weeks afterwards, trying to pick out stuff and talk about your show. Why wouldn't you want to do that and let the reins off him a little bit? And then you've got Adam Cole, who's been the focal point of NXT for the last 3 years, a fantastic worker, an even better promo, and a great look, who just happens, if all that stuff wasn't enough, he also just happens to have incredible chemistry with the biggest stable in your company. And though it's not Tony Khan or AEW's fault that those 4 guys have suddenly all become available at the same time. Now, just because they've all become available at the same time, does that mean you don't bring those guys in? Hell no. You bring those guys in, because I tell you what, if you go in to Twitter posts and you look at like hashtag Adam Cole, or hashtag Bray Wyatt, or CM Punk, or Daniel Bryan, the amount of people on there saying, I haven't watched wrestling for years, but if Punk or Bryan goes to AEW, I'm going to watch. Or the amount of people saying, I only got back into watching wrestling because of Bray Wyatt and his content, so I'll go wherever he goes. I certainly won't watch WWE, blah, blah. It's not just 1 or 2 comments. There's hundreds of these types of comments. Those 4 guys will guarantee, at least at the beginning, an influx for AEW of viewers and fans. And then it's up to them to book them in a way that people find interesting, and, keeps it interesting, and they put on good matches and stories, etc., etc. Of course, to me, hey, nothing but exciting. What would you, very quickly, mate? So let's assume that all 4 of those guys have signed for AEW, and you've got now, say, 5 or 10 minutes to tell me with each person what you would do with them in AEW for their first sort of storyline to bring them in, brother. You can start with whoever you want, mate.
That's kind of difficult off the top, but like for Punk, I'm assuming like his first interaction with an AEW talent was probably gonna be with Darby Allin, probably at that Rampage show in Chicago. That's like the automatic assumption. As far as like a few goes, I can't really call it. Like I feel like that can change on a whim. For Bryan Danielson, I definitely think he could be like sort of that, like helping out one of the guys who is not necessarily on the roster. Maybe somebody that's like on dark, like maybe like a Daniel Garcia who we seen on Dynamite over the past couple of weeks. Like he is really good. Like I don't know if you had a chance to see the 60-minute Iron Man match that he had with Willie Yuta over the not 60-minute Iron Man, but the 60-minute match he had with Willie Yuta at the IWTV 100 show, I think it was over the weekend. That was really good for a 60-minute match, and I'm not really a fan of like those long distance matches because I get kind of out of it like 20 minutes in. But they did a good job of like holding my attention for the good portion of the match. But like I could see him, like, but like with Bryan, I don't really see Bryan coming in and being like, oh yeah, I want the world title. Like I feel like he's like just a guy like, look, just put me in something that I can sink my teeth into, and we can work the rest of that shit out, and it's gonna happen as it's gonna happen. And like if he just walks into a world title, I feel like that's gonna be by way of the fans pushing him that way, and not necessarily a thing of him being like, oh yeah, this is where I need to be. I feel like Bryan is like the only dude in the world who doesn't see himself as like a top guy, like man, but he definitely is like, and probably the top of the top if he goes there. But like I feel like he doesn't view himself in that way, and not in the sense that he doesn't think he's good. He's just like, he'd
rather have something interesting to do, I think, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
But he said the best thing out of the whole pandemic from March to April, as far as like WWE, and the pandemic still going on, but you know what I'm trying to say. He said the best thing that he did was the stretch of matches that he had with Drew Gulak and the empty PC. That should let you know all you need to know about Daniel Bryan. Like even when he walked out in front of WrestleMania, like he said like that he like it wasn't like anything like special, I guess. Like it was just like, all right, let's do it. Like I think like with WWE, bro, we've heard like I'm not gonna say they did that to Daniel Bryan. I don't think they did this to Daniel Bryan. Like I feel like you've heard this a lot. They kill a lot of people's passion for wrestling, bro. Like they do that. Like we've heard Buddy Murphy say it. Like I've heard Tyler Breeze say similar things, but I think he is like he was so in the WWE bubble he doesn't realize it.
Yeah, like even now, because he's still doing up, down, down and stuff, he's still in that bubble, isn't he? And I think that makes it difficult to see it from the outside fully for them.
Especially when he's been in there so long.
Yeah.
Like they kind of forget what the outside look like. But like I'm like, even with guys like Bronson, I'm excited to see what Bronson Reed does, bro. But they going back to your question with Bray Wyatt, like, look, man, I know the Dark Order dudes. They don't want nobody to try to fill in for Brody Lee, but like that's like such a natural, like just non-forced fit, like him being the Dark Order. Like that's like, come on, man. Like okay, so even if they just don't want to like throw him in there, you can like have him work his way into it. You know what I'm saying? Like have him gravitate towards the people, have them gravitate towards him, or have it be like some weird happenstance where he like helps them or something like that. Like it don't got to be something forced, but like I feel like that's such like a natural fit, Bray Wyatt and
100%
with Dark Order, but and Adam Cole, like I was thinking of probably the idea earlier. Like I don't know how they would get there or how they would get to that point, but I mean the Bucks and Omega have deeper history than they do with Adam Cole, but at the same time, Adam Cole does have a good history with the Bucks. So I mean, you can swing that either way, but maybe he just comes in and ends up joining the group as a whole, and then they just end up presenting him as a big deal without having to turn on Omega.
They could do him. They could do the turn as well. Like they could kind of do the storyline that they did really on BTE and Ring of Honor and New Japan. They could just retell that story just slightly different. So have Adam Cole join the group and then them kind of slowly start to, turn against each other and stuff. I quite like the idea of him coming down and everyone thinks he's coming to save Adam Page and him kind of doing the old turn where he doesn't. Last question, mate, and we'll only spend like just a couple of minutes on it, but it looks like Ruby Riott is going to AEW. In my opinion, That is a phenomenal pickup by them. That is just what they need. Their women's division has been so much better since they finally pulled the trigger with Britt Baker properly. And I commend them for it. Again, they saw a problem on their TV and their booking, and they adjusted. They made it better, and they've done a good job with the women's division. And I think the one thing why people who hate AEW don't get, and I think people who have tried to be quite fair, like me, yourself, and others, is like the one thing that AEW has done exceptionally well since they began is pivot when there is a problem. So if something isn't working, they don't just beat it into the ground. They will stop it, whether it was Brandy Rhodes' group, I forget what they were called, wasn't working, so they binned it. There's been a few other little examples, wasn't working, so they binned it. Of course, they can do that. Yeah, Ruby Riot's phenomenal pickup, mate.
Oh yeah, my bad. I'm in the comment. I was Joe was talking trash on Twitter on the under the comments under your post. He was like, I'm gonna have to come on and confront Andy T because he's gotten too over. So, so I was responding to Joe. But yeah, man,
Joe is welcome anytime. Always
sure,
on the channel. 100%. I love him. He's phenomenal, bro.
Ruby Soho now, right? Not Ruby Riot, Ruby Soho. I think that's the name. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
but she would be a great addition to the AEW women's division. Like, bro, AEW, they have a really good women's division. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I just feel like they need to put more on TV. But like they kind of are, but like they kind of aren't. Like it's like a weird thing. Like when you look at the match, they got Red Velvet just came out of nowhere. I mean, not out of nowhere. She been building up wins on. Look, hey, Sai, let me tell you something, bro. I ain't mean to get too off topic. I know you just literally asked.
No, you're good.
But AEW Dark and AEW Elevation and AEW Rampage is going to be like, it's like three of their best, AEW's best moves, because you are keeping so many people from being frustrated, from not being able to wrestle.
Yes.
Like, and then those factor in to the win-loss. So that's the easy way to get them on TV. You ain't even got to think hard. You ain't got to come up with no storyline. You really don't. Because it's like, hey, they building up wins. They moving up in the rankings. So they next up in the rankings. So you got to put them on TV because they got to confront the champion. Like, like, bro, the shit is literally that simple. Like, you don't even have to do no, like, deep thinking into it. It's like that simple. Like, Red Velvet worked her way up. Or when she hadn't been on Dynamite in I don't know how long, but she worked her way up on Dark, got up a bunch of wins. And then now she at the point where you literally have no choice but to put her on TV because she's number 1 or number 2 or whatever ranking she is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's smart. Like, and then you keeping people, like, people are not frustrated because they can go do Dark Elevation, they can do Rampage, they can work the independents for certain dates. Like, you can't be upset. That's how you keep the morale high. Like, you let people do different shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a good way. And then you got people like in the women's division like Thunder Rosa, but I think Thunder Rosa is like 18-0, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
that's how you build up a star, mate.
I think they're gonna run it back with her and Britt. Like, I would like to see Chris Statlander versus Britt, and then have Britt beat her, and then face Thunder Rosa. Like,
I just don't get Chris Statlander at all. Look, I know she's a good worker. I know she's a good worker. I just don't get it, bro, at all. And it's nothing against her. And she's good.
I'm gonna clip this and tag her. Tag the channel.
Just don't get it. Just don't get it. But lastly, mate, I just want to ask you something. But we'll keep it really brief because I do need to finish. Go on.
Real quick. What did you think about the Max Caster stuff?
That's exactly what I was going to ask you.
For real? Yeah. For real? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, mate, look. It's hard, isn't it? Because it was just so avoidable. I really like battle rap and I really like hip hop and stuff like that. And in that sort of thing, you say stuff like that and you go over the line, especially in like battle rap and stuff, because that's the point of doing it, but doing it in a clever way, which is creative and good bars and stuff. My problem is it should never go. You can't do it on national TV, particularly about the subjects like mental health and sexual abuse. Of course you can't. anyone knows that you in this day and age, you can't do that on like primetime evening TV. You just can't. Whether people think that's right or wrong, whatever, I don't really care what people think. You can't do it in this day and age. It's not acceptable. Should never have made. I know it was on YouTube rather than Dynamite, but
I don't even know how that shit got past the editing process.
Yeah, but apparently, from what judging by Tony Khan's statement, where he said he's now taken over the editing, he wasn't involved in the editing process of the YouTube shows, which I was surprised at. But what I will say is, someone probably should have taken a bit of a telling off, shall we say, that made it through. But there was people talking about it before the show went live, because obviously there was people in the arena, like people that heard it when they recorded it, because I saw people talking about it before it went live on YouTube. Like, you've got to be, as a social media, and they were tagging the AEW social media, like they should have picked up that there was a problem. So even when it's got through the editors and all the people who do all that side of things, the people who produce the show, the editors, then the social media people who run this AEW social media people, I have no idea who that is. But like when they were getting messages before the show went live saying, can't believe that's going to be on the show or whatever, like that should have been a thing. Like, I don't know. It's unbelievable to me that it got through, mate. It really is unbelievable.
Yeah, that was like the dumbest shit that I think you could possibly say. Let me just say this, bro. I don't know Max Caster personally, so I'm not gonna like take it to like a personal level. I don't think it needs to go to that. I mean, especially if I don't know these people, but
of course,
that was just some stupid shit to say. Like, I don't know in his right mind, like, let him think that was like, oh, let me make fun of somebody's mental health and let me make a joke about a rape case from 2006. Like, oh yeah, people will get it. No, that's not fun. And then at that, you directed the case to a 19-year-old Julia Hart. Like, come on, my G. Like, it should be some point, like, in your brain, something in your brain that kicks in. Like, maybe I should not say that. And then AEW social media, AEW's editing team is also to blame for that, because that just lets you know that somebody in that process thought that shit was okay. Because I refuse to believe that they just like, oh, I didn't hear it. You heard it. You just probably didn't think it was a big deal, and that's, you know, got to change some shit up in the pipeline. But unfortunately, Tony Khan had to take on the position of editing that show and Dark Elevation, which I think that's a lot. Like, I really don't think it should be to that extent, because he's
running a bloody football club as well. Let's not remember, let's not forget.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to burn himself out, bro. Like, doing that, and he's a part of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Why didn't the editors pick it up, mate? I don't understand.
I mean, I think that like somebody thought that like they didn't think it was a big deal. I'm not gonna say that they thought it was okay. They just probably heard it and thought it was a big deal.
Maybe they thought that the producers had okayed it, but you got to check, haven't you? Like in 2021, and you hear something like that, and it's your job to edit the show. If it was me, I'd be like, I'm going to shoot Tony Khan or whoever. I'm going to shoot him a message and say, did you know Max Caster said this? Is that okay to go out? Just check.
If I was editing, I would have cut that shit out as a whole.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That wouldn't have seen the light of day.
But if you're not sure, that's exactly. If it was me,
but I mean, like when you say you're not, like you should be sure. Like, you should have people that are aware enough to catch
just
stuff
say,
like that. Like, you can't just.
That's what their job is, isn't it? To catch stuff that shouldn't go out.
You can't just go on air and say shit like that. Like, that's not.
But then if they've said to him he can say whatever he wants in these raps, is it on them to then not be aware? Right. Andrew, just saw on Twitter. Can you still hear me, mate? Andrew Thompson, can you hear me? We lost him just as we were about to finish. Andrew, can you hear me? Can you hear me, baby? Can you hear me? Andrew Thompson, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I literally just caught up.
Sweet. Just read a tweet in the last 2 minutes being put out by Nico Extra on Twitter says Bray Wyatt's 90-day non-compete clause ends on October the 29th, which is about a week before AEW Full Gear. That is interesting. Did you catch that there, mate?
What would you say? You cut out again? But not you cut out. It was the damn StreamYard.
Bray Wyatt's release clause ends on a week before Full Gear for AEW Full Gear, which is very interesting to me because I think AEW is the best fit for him, best place to go, national TV, because he's a big star, he's a big name. I'll be interested to see whether they turn him. And by the way, we're going to finish now, but Buddy Murphy, shout out to Buddy Murphy and Alistair Black, or Malachi Black and Matthew, whatever he's going to be called now, because their video vignettes and stuff they've put together with I forgot his name, but he's Josiah Williams. Incredible stuff. I love it. And I hope that every time these guys and girls get released from WWE, I think they should just all start tying these videos together and create their own little universe. Why not? Use their creativity for good is what I say. Andrew Thompson, I don't know if you can hear me, but I thank you so much for your time, mate. I really needed this show today. I've been really itching to do a show, get the series 2 off to a start and just talk some wrestling with you again, mate. Really enjoyed today. Cheered me up big time, mate.
I don't know if you can hear me, but the goddamn StreamYard. So we are moving to Skype.
Oh, mate, don't swear at me. Skype. What is this, 1986? Jesus, fuck. We go to Zoom, maybe, is it?
Zoom. No, matter of fact, let's do Zoom. We can go live on Zoom. I will go live on Zoom. I'm fed up with this StreamYard shit, but it takes up too much bandwidth. Like every time you talk, like I probably get a good 5 minutes out of you, and then next thing you know, I'm catching up in ×4 speed. so we'll
switch to Zoom, bro.
Yes, please. Let's switch to Zoom.
It is my absolute pleasure to have you on again. I love it, mate. Well, I'm hoping that we can make this an almost weekly or maybe 2 weekly thing, but I want to try and do them as often as we can.
I will try to get to you next week, but next week is my birthday. So
it's my wife's birthday on the 19th.
Hey, that's my birthday.
Chap. Really. Same as my wife's. It's going to be an expensive day for me. Going to be cash apping you your appearance fee and buying my wife's load of stuff. God, it's going to be a big week.
Hey, Si, but before we get off, I need your best Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull Sessions interviewer impression. Everybody does this. The thing with Austin, like he'll put his hand in somebody's face. He was a red-eyed meat babyface brother, you know. But he was hot. He was hot in the territory. You know, you gotta. What else did he say? He was hot, and we liked it. How did it happen? Did you like it? Like
yeah, I know what you mean. And then bam, it all went. The crowd just loved it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't watch it, man. I gotta be honest.
Hey, I'm calling it right now. Before the end of this year, we are getting a Ric Flair bump in AEW. I guarantee you. We are getting
I'm expecting you now. Ric Flair is a free agent. I expect you to contact him and get him on this show for us. Ric Flair, easy peasy. Andrew, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Hopefully we'll be back next week. Keep an eye on our social media. Follow at Keepin It Real. It's spelt with 2 A's. So 2 A's in real. Keepin It Real _ 2 A's in real on Twitter. Give us a follow for the show. We're currently feuding with Joe Holbert from the distraction. As we recorded this, we started feuding with him. He don't want this smoke, but we'll see.
Joe just said when's the next recording? We gotta tell him we're gonna let him know.
Yeah. Well, I'll reply to him now, but maybe we'll get Joe to join us next week. But until next week, I bid you all a farewell. Thank you for downloading. Please download on Sports Social as well. And spread the word. Tell your friends, tell the people that we're back. Andrew, nice one, my friend.
Peace.
I've been all in my bag, you been all in my business. You be all in your feelings. I've been all in them trenches.